Good evening, Somerset Democrats. I'm coming to you live from my home in Bedminster, New Jersey. Spent 100 days here, and boy, am I thrilled to see you guys tonight. I miss, though, Ben Aletta. He's supposed to be playing Steely Dan's Peg as I come onto the stage. And I miss Zenon, I miss Mike, I miss Nancy, all of my colleagues and lieutenants and officers who would be with us tonight. This is really quite an experience. You know, when Somerset Dems took over the county last year, the Republicans predicted that we would be met with famine and pestilence. Who knew they would be so prescient? But we have leaders who have risen to the challenge. I am so impressed every day with Freeholder Director Chanel Robinson, Deputy Director Sarah Suey, Freeholder Melanie Morano, Sheriff Darren Russo, and of course, Steve Peter, our clerk, who has given us the best description ever of how to fill out those vote-by-mail ballots. But we're here tonight to launch the campaign of folks who will come join these very talented leaders in the county. There are people who are going to make sure that the Democratic ideals, not the ideals of the Bryans, are governing Somerset County. We're going to bring some help to the Freeholder Board, and we're going to put a new surrogate in office in Somerset County. So we're pretty excited about this, but we don't know what campaigning in the age of COVID is going to look like. None of us have done it. We don't know how to live in the age of COVID necessarily, but it's going to be a challenge. And I am confident that the candidates we have selected on our ticket from the top to the bottom are the very best we could have, who are more than ready to handle this. You know, it's interesting to me that we are now all faced with the greatest crisis in modern history, Donald Trump. Oh, and the pandemic. What we need to do this year in Somerset County is make sure that all of the candidates you're going to meet tonight are going to have an opportunity to continue to serve or to serve their country or their county. And with that, it is now my honor to begin showing you what our ticket looks like. And I am sure you're going to be as impressed as we are, and thrilled once again that your Somerset County Democratic Committee has searched far and wide and found the people with the talent to run our country and our county government. So let's start with the guy who's going to take that man out of the White House, hopefully in handcuffs. It's my honor to introduce to you a man who needs no introduction, as Phil Murphy would say, the Vice President of the United States, Vice President Joe Biden.
Hello, everyone. I wish that this year we were meeting under different circumstances. Separated from one another by a deadly virus, more than 100,000 lives lost, many needlessly, because of the lack of movement on the part of the administration. Millions out of work, and once again, the words, "I can't breathe," echoing in our ears as we watch the brutal, horrifying killing of George Floyd. It's outrageous and enraging. None of us can turn away. None of us can be silent. We're dealing with multiple national crises. We need leadership right now. Leadership that will bring everyone to the table so that we can take measure to root out systemic racism. It's time for us to take a hard look at the uncomfortable truth. It's time for us to face the deep, open wound of systemic racism in this nation. Nothing about this is going to be easy or comfortable. But if we simply allow this wound to scab over once more without treating the underlying injury, we're never going to truly heal. The very soul of America is at stake. That's why I'm running for president. And that's why I stand united with every single Democrat behind our mission to beat Donald Trump and restore real leadership to the White House. We have to do more than just beat Trump. We have to keep the House, and we have to win back the United States Senate. We have to lead, deliver meaningful change for people that are hurting all across the nation. And that means we need strong state parties to win up and down the ticket. The stakes in this election have never been higher for our country. So we have to work harder than ever. We need to stand up as a nation, stand with the Black community, stand with minority communities, and come together as one America to deliver justice for all Americans. And if we stand together, we're going to win the battle for the soul of this nation. We need to do this. and we can do it. We've never failed when we've worked together. So thank you, and may God bless our troops.
Leading the battle in Washington for justice and fairness in our government and in our society is our very own Senator Cory Booker. Now, you know that we've adopted Cory. He's been a friend to Somerset County for as long as I can remember, and certainly for as long as I've been chair. Many of you know also I've had a secret crush on him for a lot of years, but he's a little too old for me. But he is a man who has stood out. He's a phenomenal senator. He is capable of dealing with Moscow Mitch. He's somebody who we need him and more like him in the United States Senate. And there's nobody who can hold a candle to what he's done for Somerset County and the state of New Jersey. It is now my honor to introduce my good friend, our Senator Cory Booker.
Somerset County Democrats, I'm so excited and grateful for all that you are doing in this election season. I want to give a huge shout out to my dear friend, one of our great state leaders, and of course, the chairwoman, Peg Schaefer. Look, we know what is ahead of us, the most important election of our lifetime, not just for us in Somerset County or New Jersey or our nation, but for all of the planet. This is the election. And don't just think it's the top of the ticket, because we know that the Democratic Party, we build from the ground up. That means freeholders like Singletary, Drake, and Jallo. It means making sure that our great congresspeople, Malinowski and Bonnie, Watson, Coleman, we have a whole field of candidates, from city council people all the way up to your senator who's on the ballot, me. So we need your work and your commitment and your drive and your determination and your love of country to be successful. So let's continue to work together. This is the season. We know the reason. Let's make sure that we have so much to be thankful for in terms of our victories, and not only in this primary, but as we head into November. Thank you.
So thank you, Senator Booker. But I need to remind you that Jala was a freeholder in Union County. In Somerset County, she is going to be our surrogate. But her son was a freeholder, so that's okay. And by the time we get through the primary, I'm sure that we'll all be on the same page as to who our candidates are and how much we're behind every one of them. And so we talk about now, in last year, New Jersey made a mark in the United States Congress. We sent 6.5 Democrats to Washington, D.C. The half has since become a Republican, but in any event, we made a difference. We made such a difference that Nancy Pelosi came into New Jersey to thank us. She came to our state Democratic convention. So we know that we can make a difference in Congress because it's a Democratic-controlled Congress now. We are making change. We're watching. We're doing checks and balances on the White House. Our very own Bonnie Watson Coleman has been a strong voice, again, for justice, fairness, and representation of the people who the Democratic ideals always put first. Bonnie Watson Coleman has been a leader. She's a leader in the Black Caucus in Washington, and we couldn't be prouder than to be in a position to be sending her right back to Washington to continue doing the job to which she's dedicated her life. It is now my honor to introduce my good friend, Bonnie Watson Coleman.
Hi there, Somerset County. It's Bonnie Watson Coleman reaching out to you to remind you that July 7th is our primary day. We need you to make sure that you get your votes in the mail and postmarked before that. We know that this is a different campaign, that we will in a large part be voting by mail, but you can do it and we can do it. Please vote the entire Democratic team. Vote Doug Singletary and Paul Drake for freeholders, and of course, Tina Jala for surrogate. Don't forget me, please. Don't forget Cory, and don't forget the next president of the United States, Joe Biden. Thank you, God bless, and thank you for your past support.
One of the young guns that we sent to Congress last year has done nothing but, actually it was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Has done nothing but make us proud. And he certainly made his mark in Washington. They have gone to, it's unusual for a freshman congressman to be given the opportunity to draft the resolution sanctioning the president of the United States. He's got a wealth of experience in foreign relations. He's having worked with Hillary in the Secretary of State's office. He's a phenomenal guy with a rich background who is bringing that background to bear for the benefit of all of Somerset County residents, residents of the state of New Jersey, residents of the 7th District. We need to send him back. He's got tough competition this year, not because the person running against him is of any moment, but rather because he has a lineage. He has a political lineage and an ability to raise money. So Tom's in for a fight. We know, and most of you on this call were very instrumental in sending him to Washington in the first place. You worked really hard to make it happen. And now we watch what he does in DC, and we are so proud of him. We need to make sure that we can send him back to continue doing the work that he started. And so I will now get to introduce to you our congressman, our freshman congressman, who hopefully will go back for a second term, Congressman Tom Malinowski.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry we can't be together in person, but I know we're together in our determination to win this year. There is so much to be said about the state our country is in, and there's so much to be said about the stakes in this election. But I don't think I need to say it. You already know. You know what we did in 2018 when we knocked on over 500,000 doors and elected a Democrat to Congress here for the first time in almost 40 years. And you know that was just a trial run for 2020. You know what a difference having a Democratic House has made. You know how we have fought for New Jersey and for our country's ideals. And you know that is nothing compared to what a Democratic House can do with Joe Biden as president, ready to sign the bills we pass, to protect our health care, to keep our kids safe from gun violence, to rebuild our infrastructure, to end the corruption in our politics, to make America lead the world to a clean energy future. Above all, you know what would happen to America if we were somehow to fall short with a president who would sell our country's security and our soul for his personal gain, but this time unchecked by Congress or the courts or by anyone in his own administration. And you know what our part in all of this is, that New Jersey isn't going to be the deciding state in the presidential election, but we might be, as we were in 2018, one of the very few states that decides who controls Congress. Now, it won't be easy. My opponent may be incapable of taking a stand on any issue of any importance. He may lack the integrity and spine to say what every responsible Republican knows Trump is doing to the country. But he's got big money and the support of his national party, and we don't know exactly what our campaign is going to look like in this ongoing pandemic. What that means is that I'm going to need you more than ever, spreading the word, getting voters to the polls, or voting from home by whatever means the circumstances will allow. Now, I know you're not going to falter. I know you're going to finish what we started together in 2018. We're just one election away from restoring decency in America and honesty and respect for the law. One election away from delivering something real for New Jersey and middle-class Americans across our country. One election from making America a good example for the world to follow again. Now, I trust you are as impatient to get started as I am. So let's get this done. Thank you.
So thank you, Tom. This really is like playing a sport without an audience. It seems like I'm listening to these very astute, successful, dedicated politicians, and nobody's clapping for them. So I'm assuming that you're all clapping in your own little homes, and that you agree with us that we have selected an incredible slate of candidates. And now let me move on to the ones that we've personally selected. We have a county campaign that is comprised of, we'll start with the surrogate. You know, we have a surrogate in Somerset County, a guy named Frank Bruno, who really isn't qualified to do his job. So we had to hire somebody to help him do his job. The Democrats, we always run candidates better than the Republicans, than the ones the Republicans run. But this particular candidate brings all of the credentials and criteria. She's been practicing law for many years in an area of trust, estates, wills. She's reached out to the community. She does pro bono work. She'll tell you a lot about herself too, but she's also a woman who's run our Black Caucus. for many years in Somerset County. It's one of our strongest caucuses. I will mention our caucuses at the end of this video so that you know how you can get involved. But I am delighted that Tina Jalla has agreed to step up and offer her services in the service of the county. It is my honor now to introduce to you the next surrogate of Somerset County, Tina Jalla.
Hello, I am Bernice Tina Jallo, but most people know me as Tina Jallo. I am running as a Democrat nominee for the Somerset County Surrogate, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to introduce myself to you today. I am running for surrogate because I have spent my personal and professional lives fighting to ensure society's most vulnerable people are protected. As a hospital laboratory manager for 20 years and in 14 years practicing law, I have seen how often people without resources get taken advantage of. That's why it's always been my passion to make sure the elderly are protected, even in death. And I've worked hard in my practice with wills, trusts, estate planning, and guardianships to make sure they and their families are protected. My father died of Alzheimer's not too long ago. Fortunately, we had a power of attorney and living will, so we were able to handle his affairs when he was no longer able. However, I have seen firsthand the financial and mental hardship family members endure when they wait too long to obtain legal authority to make sure they can handle their loved ones' daily affairs. Then they have to go and pay through the courts to become their legal guardians. As your surrogate, I won't just sit in my office and wait for the public to come to me, but I will be an active partner in ensuring everyone in the community has access to the surrogate's office at the most difficult times in their lives. Currently, the surrogate's office is open from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., which is inconvenient for people who are working. I want to open the surrogate's office 2 evenings a month to make it convenient to the working person. I also want to put satellite offices in the community so people will be able to utilize the Somerset County Surrogate's office within their community. As your surrogate, I put my experience as Director of Training and Development and as a lawyer to use, creating and giving seminars on the need of estate planning. I will meet people in their communities, in senior centers, in retirement homes, in religious areas, as well as community centers and other places to make sure that the public is educated on the needs and advantages of estate planning in order in case they become incapacitated and when they finally pass from this earth. But nothing in this world gets done alone. It takes a team to make a policy and to benefit our residents. And that's why I'm happy and proud to be running with the freeholder candidates, Paul Drake and Doug Singletary. We will always focus on what is the best interest in the community. And that's the stark difference between Democrats and Republicans and our priorities. We need to ensure that Donald Trump and the Republicans who have sat silent as he destroys American democracy is removed from the White House. We are the foot soldiers on the local level that are responsible for getting this done in Somerset County. And I can't think of better people to be in the trenches with than all of you. So I thank you, and I look forward to working with you.
And now let me introduce you to Tina's team. Again, as I said earlier, we're pretty careful as to whom we select to run for office in this county on the Democratic ticket. And things are lacking on the freeholder board, not among the 3 Democrats who are there, but there's no lawyer on that board. And so the next person I'm going to introduce to you is a gentleman who's been involved in Somerset County politics for many, many years. He's a practicing attorney. He's an author. He's a council person in North Plainfield. He's a young man whose career we've followed. We are so comfortable with him, and we know how dedicated he is to serving the people of Somerset County, not just his community, and look forward to adding freeholder number 4, Doug Singletary, to the Somerset County Freeholder Board. Let's hear from Doug.
My fellow Somerset County Democrats, I'm North Plainfield Councilman Doug Singletary, and I'm running for freeholder in this tipping point year. We're facing unprecedented challenges at a time when national leadership is failing. From healthcare, climate change, the COVID-19 crisis, to the murder of George Floyd, President Trump and the Republicans have failed to provide the leadership we need. Sadly, this lack of Republican leadership has also infected the local GOP. Our two Republican freeholders were silent back in April when the federal government took masks which were intended for the Somerset County COVID-19 testing center, and one has sought to minimize the severity of the crisis by sarcastically comparing it to deaths caused by choking in restaurants. If we want positive change, we need to elect people willing to stand up for the residents of Somerset County. And as we know, that change has been coming, with Chanel Robinson selected as the first African-American freeholder director ever, and the first Democratic freeholder director since the 1960s. We need to continue this progress to make sure that we invest in public health, improve education by supporting the Votech School and Raritan Valley Community College, ensure that open space funds are distributed fairly throughout the county, and to improve the infrastructure that was neglected under GOP control. I'm running for freeholder because I'm ready to address the challenges facing our county. I'm running as a Democrat because we're the party committed to change in order to create a better, more inclusive future. Thank you.
So I forgot to tell you also that Doug, happy Father's Day. Doug became a dad for the first time this year, and COVID has given him the opportunity to bond with his son. So there are some good things coming out of this world we live in, this twilight zone that none of us have quite figured out. But we look forward to electing Doug and bringing on the fifth member of the freeholder board, a gentleman who also has paid his dues in this county. He's been involved with democratic politics and with government and public policy throughout his entire career. And as I said earlier, we bring something new to the table with him. He is a planner, certified planner. He's had plenty of experience. He was an elected councilman in Hillsborough many years ago. He brings excitement, talent, willingness, and dedication to the table, and we hope that this will be freeholder number 5 come 2021. It is my distinct honor now to introduce to you Paul Drake.
Hi, I'm Paul Drake, and I'm running for Somerset County Freeholder. There is a saying that change is inevitable, but as a lifelong county resident, professional planner, and environmental educator, I'm a firm believer that we can all promote the kind of positive change we'd like to see in Somerset County. Somerset County can be known for its walkable communities, its vibrant downtowns, places where local farm produce is sold, and places that are affordable that we can all call home. With the newly elected Democratic majority, we can lead Somerset County with a wealth of new jobs in technology, incubator space, and skilled trades to make certain that our economy will continue to grow and prosper. My background as a planner helps me look at the world with the future in mind. Somerset County can lead the state in the fight against climate change, but first we need to think outside the car. Together, we can move the county to support the integration of rail, bus stops, bike lanes, and safe walkable spaces. With a clear vision and plan, let's incorporate green spaces, pedestrian plazas, and parks throughout all our communities. Let's harness the natural beauty of Somerset County to promote economic investment and a healthy lifestyle for all.
So, this is what the slate looks like. Now the question is, how do we get them elected? We have to figure things out. I know, by the way, we need plenty of volunteers, but probably not to do a whole lot of door knocking this year. I'm not so sure people are going to be answering doors, even if we're wearing the masks, which we should all be wearing. But we do need phone dialers. We need people who are willing to do text messaging. We need people who are just willing to reach out to their community. It is so important. This is a year like no other year. None of us have experienced what we're living through, nor have we ever been so embarrassed at what's leading our country. So yes, president is very important, and the senators and the Congress people we need to send back. But even in this county, as Councilman Singletary pointed out, we're being punished by the federal government and the people at the top of the government. They stole our PPE. It's because that's who Republicans are in Washington, D.C. And unfortunately, again, as Councilman Singletary pointed out, and we continue to point out, those guys in this county who wear that stripe have not disavowed him. And in fact, they secretly harbor the same racism and temptations toward discrimination as the people in the White House. So where do we go from here? Somerset County Democratic Committee, thanks you for listening to this video, but don't just leave us. We have several caucuses that we could use your interest and involvement in. We have a women's caucus, an LGBTQ caucus, a disability caucus, a veterans caucus, a labor caucus, an elected officials caucus, a Hispanic caucus, and an Asian caucus, a Black caucus, a social action caucus. And every one of those caucuses is looking for volunteers. We also are always looking to add membership. We are working on finding some fun things to do. I'm still terribly disappointed that we missed St. Patrick's Day. You know, that's my favorite holiday. And terribly disappointed that we can't gather together to launch such an important campaign. But we will. We will figure out a way to continue gathering together virtually. And hopefully we will get to a point where we can all fit into Zenon's backyard, socially distanced. And maybe he needs a bigger backyard. Maybe somebody else has a bigger one they'd like to offer to us. But I miss all you guys. And again, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you've done. Please reach out to us. Reach out to us on social media. Reach out to us through email. I want to take a moment in particular to thank from the bottom of my heart Sarah Nichols, without whom this video would never have happened. Most of us are very tech challenged, certainly people in my generation, and many of the people in our organization share that issue. But I want to thank Sarah. I want to thank James for making this happen in conjunction with her. And again, we need your help. We need you to work. And right now, we need you to fill out your vote by mail ballot. Make sure all of your friends and neighbors fill out their ballots, because we want to make sure they know how to fill out the ballots. Make sure they watch Steve Peters' video that will tell them how to fill out their ballots. If they have any questions, please feel free to call the Somerset County Executive Director or any one of your elected officials. You can call Steve Peter also. We'll make sure that this happens and happens well. Also, don't forget to fill out your census. And if anything that you've heard tonight is of interest to you, somebody just fill out your ballots. I just said that. Anything you've heard tonight, you have questions about anything, you want additional information, you'd like to have more of an opportunity to talk to the candidates, please reach out and let us know, either through Facebook or directly, email or cell phone, and we will make sure that happens. Again, this is an unusual opportunity, an unusual experience. I feel like I'm talking to an empty room, which I am, but I'm hoping that you guys all enjoyed this little bit of our Somerset County kickoff caucus / we didn't have a convention either, but this is as close as we can get right now. Again, thank you all. And I think unless somebody has some questions or something that we need to deal with right now, I think that's about it. We took a half hour of your time and we thank you. I'm signing off.